on the stream that had like it was like Alliance best of 5 final. It was like Alliance win, other opponent wins, Alliance wins,
Oh shit.
and it played out perfectly. So it
Oh
just
no.
so I kind of fed into that kind of that whole
That everything is
people that
kind of
wear
like
tinfoil hats. Yeah, that everything
right.
is pre-dead and everyone knows the outcome, and that's why we're gonna now see. Come on, call the pick, Pycat. What's the pick for Extremum?
I mean, this is clearly a
Tiny.
lich.
Oh wait, Tiny's bad. Ooh, Lich. You're right. Yeah, there's got to be a Lich.
It's not gonna be a lich.
No, it's really not. Man, if Tiny was not banned, this would be the easiest choice. Just go, yeah, Tiny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of okay with this. Like, I'm fine with this. The tempo opening. I think this Rubik Voice Bird. I think this is okay. I think the next like what Khan did in the last game, they kind of overdid it with this. I'm not a huge fan of. I think like I feel like they're committing too heavily these like when your 3 first picks are all countered by one, let's say, Lifestealer or one Juggernaut, or just any hero that kind of buys early BKB, or even like a Spectre. Once again, like maybe Spectre is not the absolute best against Darkseer because the lane is a little bit annoying. You get pressured a bit, but it can still be okay. There's not this overwhelming physical damage. They're just relying so much on magic damage. And I feel like when you're doing this in your first 3 picks, I feel like you're setting yourself up for some sort of um there are holes in your draft. You kind of want to have this combination of magical and physical damage and scalability, etc.
Well, luckily, Extremum saved Tempo from making the same mistake that Khan did, because the Grim Strokes on Extremum. I mean, you could say that they saved them from their own darkness.
Right. Unless there's a Night Stalker now.
In which case, they've embraced their darkness. Maybe that's the problem. You always see those drafts that are so lopsided they come out the other side looking good.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. I mean, like, is this better? This is kind of like your early frontliner, right? And you actually have some like counter initiation. I feel now on tempo.
Okay, so I mean, there's this Treant. Treant is not generally something you would want to pick up like against this Darkseer, and also I mean, of course he was picked prior to the Ember, but still like this Ember Darkseer combo, I think this is always like one of the absolute scariest things for Treant to play against. The one thing is that there's not really a lot of tower damage on Extremum, so they might just be looking to go late with this tempo draft. That's at least my point of view, or like my take on this. Like I see this Treant, I see Underlord. This means to me that they want to take things slightly later. However, they still need to find this one kind of late game. They need to find this one carry now that lets them scale better than Extremum.
All right. But one carry to rule them all. I mean, we've seen a lot of teams, they kind of lean into that these days. I wonder if we'll see something like the Spectre.
That's banned.
Oh, it is banned. So we have seen the Spectre in the bans.
Yes.
But I don't like Faceless Void here. So those are those two.
It's also
we have
banned.
to think outside the box. Yeah.
It's
See?
also
That's
banned.
what I mean. That's what I mean. No, I was getting to that.
Anti-Mage, banned.
Mm-hmm.
Morphling,
I would love to
banned.
see a morph. Oh, damn. We're going there. All right. So hear me out. Tempo, right? They pick such a bully laner that they're like, Darkseer doesn't count a tree, an idiot, because Darkseer can't get 2.
Oh, shit. I mean, that's gotta be a pretty big boy for that to happen then.
Yeah, and I'm not sure which one you. I mean, like Drow has been the classic one, but would you really want to pick Drow into that lineup? I feel like that's instant.
No, I feel like Drow is pretty scary. It is something I was considering just a little bit, but I feel like it's pretty scary. I mean, the one cool thing is if you have this Drow is that you have a bunch of big boys in front of you. But generally, I think playing this Drow is like a straight up position 1 in that same sense. I'm not a huge fan. I think just looking here, like the heroes that are nice, quite a few of them are already gone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want to play too many like illusion-based heroes into this Darkseer Ember Spirit.
Maybe I wonder, like Sven. I want to say it's not a terrible pick.
You could go for something like this Juggernaut with some Battle Fury build, etc. That's kind of one option that like one route you could take. There's of course this life stealer, but I just don't think he cuts it as this kind of a loner hero.
Yeah. And all these, of
Um,
course, are melee heroes up against the Darkseer and a Nerf Spirit, so it's not going to be easy slaying. At least with the Jug suggestion, you have a way to escape.
hmm
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. They could go into something like they could do something like a Clinks. Um, he's
Ooh.
not your amazing position one in that sense, but then they would play with tempo for sure. Um, no pun intended.
Ayo.
But
I mean, even like the Clank suggestion just feels like the Drow suggestion, right? It's like you could
well,
see
not
where it
really
could
though,
work.
because Clinks. I mean, the thing is like this. Clinks is a very mobile hero, right?
Yeah.
Clinks is a very mobile hero, and he has this death pack that gives you a lot of HP. So you're not squishy or kind of susceptible to dying in that same sense. And you're also a hunter. Drow is
Being
a
hunted.
huntee, yes. Whereas this Clinks, he's some hero that goes around and he kind of creates. So right now they have this Underlord and they have Rubik Void Spirit. Like even Treant, they have some pretty easy ways of dealing with the creep waves. They have easy ways of pushing these creeps back. And so having this one hunter who can kind of move in the fog and etc. could be quite useful.
Not
It's
all.
gonna be a Slark.
It's sort of a hunter. I feel like they needed something that can
Yeah.
withstand a bit of a beating in a fight as well, right?
So the reason why I didn't really like the Slark so much is, first of all, there's the Grimstroke, the Phantom's Embrace that you can't, it's a little bit annoying for Slark to deal with this. And then second, I think the laning up against Darkseer in general, like now you should be going up against two melee heroes as the Slark. And yeah, you might potentially be able to trade somewhat efficiently because Treant has quite a lot of damage. But these two shells, come level 5 Darkseer or whatever it is, this Slark, it's very difficult for him to man up. And I think like Slark manning up against an Ember with Darkseer Iron Shells is something that's very scary for Slark. And that's also with Extremum having the last pick now.
Yeah, I almost felt like this Lark was kind of the I am leaving kind of approach to seeing the Ember Darkseer, right? Because it's important that we highlight that. Like the pressure these two spirits are going to be able to apply in like the 15-20 minute mark with the Darkseer Iron Shells and the Ink Swells from Grimstroke is insanely scary. So like I kind of see where they're coming from. Like, oh, we need a dispel, we need a way of escaping from their initiation. But like you should already have that in a way, right? Like you've got the counter initiation of the overgrowth. You should have an underlord who's building into this kind of aura build. And for Extremum, it's just a case of okay, we don't have much in the way of Ursa taking capabilities, and also if there's one hero the Underlord absolutely hates his existence of when he has to face on the lane, it's an Ursa.
Yeah, so what this Ursa does kind of is it gives you a pretty good safe lane. Of course, there's going to be the Grimstroke and the Ursa. You can kind of try to run down the Underlord. However, I think what happens usually in a lane like this is Underlord presses Q on the wave, Rubik presses W on the wave, you push, and then Ursa is just kind of stuck under tower, trying to last hit, for some foreseeable future. I think the Earth Spirit has a pretty key role here in this game. I think he has a lot of options here. I think he can pressure the Slark, he can pressure the mid lane, he can even rotate towards a safe lane and create kills. So I think Extreme have a lot of options in terms of kind of where they want to rotate to. Tempo, they have some options with the Void Spirit and the Rubik, but definitely not as many. And they kind of are gonna play a bit more static, but I kind of like. I think I kind of like Extremum. I'm not a huge fan of the Ursa Slark matchup.
Hmm.
I think generally it hasn't really favored Ursa unless he's also buying like Diffusal and stuff like this, because you're just gonna get your mana burned and you're gonna lose a bunch of stacks. But I think the amount of team fight that they have with this Ember, not necessarily team fight, but these skirmishes with the Ember, with the Earth Spirit and Darkseer, like the Iron Shells, they have so much magic damage, and there's no the Slark he doesn't want to buy BKB first item. So
I feel like what we're saying here is that like Extreme, they're gonna probably end up, or not Extreme, sorry, Tempo are gonna probably end up being a little bit more defensive. They have to try and buy time, whereas Extreme, ironically enough, are the ones who will be pushing the tempo. Right?
yeah, it's no, I know for sure. And I mean, like what you want to see here, like what I want to see, I think is like I would like this Underlord. I think he's gonna have to get a pipe. I think most likely Void Spirit. I could see him rush this Axe, like we saw in the previous game. That was the Ember Spirit. No, the Void Spirit was played by
Khan.
Khan. Yeah, exactly.
You already forgot them.
Yeah.
They left such an impression upon you. Yeah, that was where it had good. I feel like there is rarely a game right now where I see the voice for Ags and I'm like, well, that's terrible value. Like, there's just so many heroes
no,
that it's effective against
for sure.
in the meta.
If he has a really good game, I could see it. I don't really mind the use this, against the Ember, against the Ursa, and even shells and stuff like that. I could definitely see a case being made for having the Yules in this game. It's probably a good idea. But yeah, Yules, Axe, etc. And then the pipe there from Underlord, I think, can mitigate quite a lot of the damage from Extremum.
Well, looks like rune-wise, I believe, yeah, it's just going to be even. There was this feeling that there was going to be quite a big fight at the top room, but I think Extreme instantly, as soon as they see LeBron throw out the Nature's Grasp, like, nah, this is never fight into a Treant's Grasp.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing is to say that the Tempo have, like, I mean, I think Slark is like he should be at some point later on in this game, he should be the boss of this game. There's
It's just
not
a matter
really anyone
of the
who can
goes long enough, right?
if he can actually get there, like if he's not too pressured during the early mid game, etc., by all this magic damage, and he can farm up and he can get some decent kills, find this diffusal, BKB, etc. I think then he could become the hero that he's supposed to be.
Would you say the hero that they need?
I would say the hero that they need. Yes. I don't know about the serve, like maybe.
Well, I think like the thing that they need as well is Noob to pop off, right?
Speed?
I think it's no.
Would you say that Tempo have a need for speed or no?
I'd say that they aren't the ones who can play Fast and Furious. That reward definitely goes to Extreme, right? Like with this Ember, with this Darkseer, with this Earth Spirit. Like you could very easily see this game not getting to a stage where Slark is out of control. However, that is a good way to start, as the Earth Spirit is found wanting and will be taken by the side of Tempo.
Yeah, and Darkseer might be in trouble. Oh, okay, Pounce was on cooldown there.
Yeah. LeBron's like, wait, there's no trees. Oh.
Yeah, and this is the thing about this lane, that it is scary for this Slark, I think, once you get to level 3, like once the Earth Spirit or once the Darkseer pretty much gets to level 3, I think then it becomes difficult for the Slark to trade, because then I think the Essence Shift hitting and, like, you can't really man up anymore. Like against these two shells, if they're both full health, you should not be able to man up. But at this point, the Nature's Grasp, it deals so much damage, and the Treant can just deal so much damage that you kind of offset this level 1 shell here.
Yeah, it's a case
then you
of
can
like
just keep hitting.
There aren't many lanes, right, where like you say, oh, the Treant's not gonna is gonna lose the brawl with a Slark as well. But I think you're right. Like Iron Shell is just one of those spells. Like 2 heroes. It's the moment as soon as Krylap commits a pounce at like level 3, they won't run away. They'll just go, okay, trade time. I'm gonna punch you. You're gonna punch me. Maybe LeBron gets a kill after you die, Slark, but you will be the first casualty.
Yeah, no, definitely. And also, once the Ember gets some levels and the Darkseer more so, that it becomes even scarier for the Slark. There's definitely going to be at some point in this game, unless Slark somehow manages to just completely pop off, where he's going to be not feeling the best, like up until the point where he gets his BKB.
I feel like there's this easier synergy in Extreme's draft, right? Like you mentioned that Darkseer and the Ember. Whereas the way that you kind of couple Tempo's heroes together, it's almost like Voice Spirit just does Voice Spirit things, and like we keep harping on, Slark has to just reach the true carry point.
Yeah, I mean, there's you could say that there's kind of less cohesion in their lineup or whatever. Like the way of playing, like for Extremum, this is something we've seen since like pretty much the CDEC days. I think this is when it kind of originated, where you would run this, the Darkseer with the Ember Spirit, and kind of just trying to run over your opponent.
Yeah, and the thing that they're gonna have as a problem with that kind of draft is like Nefret, if he can run over. Like I remember, I think it used to be back when the reset time was 20 seconds. Like this laning matchup was so Ursa favored because you just had to miss a whole creep wave as an Underlord. But these days, it feels like you get past what I want to call the hard hurdle for an Underlord, which is like level 1, 2, 3, and then you become unapproachable.
Yeah, I mean, what happens in this matchup these days is Underlord is coupled with a hero like, let's say, Rubik, and then you just you just nuke the wave, and Ursa just has to farm under tower, and you see they're just gonna change farm, right? They're both sitting at 2021 CS.
Yeah.
However, up top though, the Darkseer is struggling quite a bit here, and I'm curious. I feel like at this point, I think you should maybe consider if you're Extremum here to just kind of go and start cutting, because I think that the Darkseer and the First Spirit, they could just cut together and they can outfarm quite a bit.
It might be able to kill as well. They're actually holding on to Nature's Grasp. They'll throw it out now on Velior and should be able to bring him down. Non-Grata actually out of mana might die as well. That's a mistake being made. Maybe they should have taken your advice a little bit sooner, as Krylat is already looking a little bit out of control here. CS and kills concluded.
Yeah, it's already 2k advantage, and you know, like this lane, I don't think it's not supposed to be this weak. Of course, like level 1, I think it's quite favored for tempo here, but after you get your levels, if you're just pushing the wave and you have the wave with you, the Slark, he cannot fight the wave in 2 Iron Shells, and so I don't think that this lane should be. It shouldn't be this one-sided. Like you should be okay here. And also we see in the mid lane actually the Void Spirit is doing way better than the Ember here.
Yeah, we've seen this matchup many times. It is kind of back and forth, right? Like you both trade effectively. Usually it comes down to maybe a little outplay moment. We haven't seen that outplay moment that leads to a kill yet. But speaking of kills, Noob's going to go find them elsewhere as he's moving towards top. And it looks like they're baiting themselves in, thinking they can kill Krylat. He's taking a lot of damage from the creeps. I think this now makes it way too obvious, though, that Noob is coming. Cut the trees, on the Velio, go. Remnant out. It's off the mark, actually, but he can finish off the kill. And in the meantime, LeBron almost dying to the creeps. Does get the Darkseer kill.
This Darkseer and Earth Spirit, they're starting to feel like quite the liability right now at this point. Slark already being halfway to 6. Darkseer stuck not even 4 yet. And the net worth is down in the dumpster there, just right below the tree end.
Which is worrying, right? Because I feel like this should have been the strongest lane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about this. Yeah, it's you know, it's not a bad lane once you get a few levels, right? It's just your level 1 is very weak.
Which is what we said. So do you think it came down to like the moment that the first wave passed, they should have had the Earth Spirit cut like we're used to seeing for quite a while?
Yeah, you know, I'd be totally fine with just cutting the wave. You don't have to fight this lane, you know, like not straight up at least. Like once you get to your level 3 or maybe even your level 5 Darkseer, I think 5 is when you really start to actually feel strong in this lane. You know, the level 3, I think you're okay-ish. Potentially they might still be able to fight you, but level 5 you definitely can just cut waves, and then you can also go start in taking jungle farm. And so you can get both the jungle and the lane. And the Slark, he cannot push the lanes fast enough. Because generally we see Slark, he's going for these like 2 points in essence shift builds, etc.
Well, it's proven worth it with the essence shift he's getting permanently as he finds another kill. That was a see you later from Non-Grata, betrayal by his own teammate. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, alright, Ember, he was playing around that ward because he had the sentry down. He's going for the D ward. Noob manages to use it to his advantage to get the kill.
Yeah, getting a solo kill there on the Ember. Not
Who
even sure
is
exactly.
level 7 and had the mana for a remnant.
And also had 3 remnants. So
Yeah.
I'm guessing he just got pulled into the tower and died, you know, quicker than he thought he would.
Big whoopsie. Because he was skirting around the high ground, which I think made it obvious to Noob that his ward was going to get dewarded, which is why there was this weird posturing back and forth for a while. Yeah, Melo getting caught out at usually the easy point for an Ember.
Yeah, and right now, you know, things are looking very, very dark for Extremum. I think here the Ursa, he's also going to be going for this Battle Fury build, so he won't really be a factor for quite a while, and, you know, he's having an okay time here down here. Like, him and the Unloader are pretty much just trading.
Any attempt to try and kill gets exactly that type of treatment, which means the Grimstroke's feeling a little bit worthless here. I mean, I don't know if you can maybe make some early rotations. Like, you do have an Earth Spirit, you do have a Darkseer, but it really comes back to Darkseer not being as strong on levels maybe as he should at this stage, so those rotations maybe not feeling as impactful.
Yeah, and I think now, like, if the Earth Spirit was up here now with this Darkseer, I think the Slark, he can't really trade.
Oh
like,
yeah, look at
even against the Darkseer, he can't.
He might kill
He's
him.
actually gonna.
No, he gets the pounce. He just about gets away. While that's happening though, Rubik will fall in the bot lane to a rotation from Melo.
Yeah, so finally something going the way of Extremum. But you see, like, this is what's supposed to happen in this lane, I think. Like, once you get to this level 5, you know, the lane, it doesn't even have to be one or anything. Like, you can be slightly behind the Slark at this point, and then now you can start catching up. Plus, you can pressure once you get this level 3 shell. The Slark just, he can't man fight this anymore. You know, if there are 2 shells, it's too much damage for Slark. And now
No.
there's going to be a rotation top by the Rubik.
And some
You
vengeance
just
should be
a
had.
very dead Darks here.
Yep, your attempt failed. Maybe bring more people next time is the message that goes out to Non-Grata. And the person he should have brought is busy dying in the mid lane solo to Noob, who is starting to escalate substantially in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's going for this. He's going for this Yules into Axe build. We've seen it quite a few times. Last game we saw the Axe rush, but I quite like the Yules this game. Just being able to remove the chains, you know, removing flame guard, etc.
Also against the Ursa, right? Really good
Against
because it's
Ursa,
fixed
even
amount
against
of
the Earth Spirit, you know, there's so many ways of. It's just a nice cleanse, right?
Oh.
Ugh.
Yeah. And you know, it's not like they lack right now. They've got
That
enough
is
reach.
correct.
They're proving on Avelio. Non-Grata just wants to feel like he's part of the action. Might be able to find DNT at this rate, but reinforcements are coming. So he'll have to back
I'm
away.
curious. They actually just decided to just run away and not go for this rune here. I think that was their rune, but
I think maybe they're paranoid. They shouldn't have been though, because the fight was happening bot for the side of Extreme as they run down the train.
yeah. And I think that despite the fact that they're down quite a lot, Extremum now, like once this Darkseer, once he does get level 7, I still want him to just kind of join up with this, well, with this Ember and Earth Spirit getting close now to that 6. So I think he's gonna be fine. Like in terms of fighting, they're gonna be okay. There's gonna be some pressure coming down here now for the Ursa.
I think it's a case of like when you compare these two teams, one needs the gold, the other one actually functions very well off levels, right? And the one that functions off levels is Extremum. So they do have a bit more leeway in terms of this net worth loss for them. As you
I
said,
think this is where you look for the Darkseer to kind of come in and
yeah,
join
I'm
the
surprised.
bottom.
He's hanging around. Those things Earth Spirit down here, but like Iron Shell's your best mark here. They're going to go and be able to find some kills maybe on Slark. He's able to actually try and purge it off, but he is chanced up. No chance to use his ultimate. 2 dead already. The Enrage to ensure that Nefrit can't be turned around on Velior, barely limping away alive. It does live to fight another day.
Yeah, and there we see that the Phantom's Embrace against the Slark here, it's one of those, you know, it's very annoying to deal with because generally you're able to purge things off with Dark Pact, right? But against the Phantom's Embrace, you need to be hitting this as Slark, which means you kind of have to be stopping somewhere and doing some hits. And in that time, he does go down to the overwhelming magical damage. And now the Darkseer is gonna start getting to do Darkseer things. This is, however, where Treant can be quite nice to just have on your team. You're just able to sit kind of in the trees and spam this Nature's Grasp, and you're gonna get farm. You're protecting your tower. You're getting, you know, gold levels, etc.
Yeah, we've even seen the situation now where Melior can start to actually pressure Noob a little bit because he has actually caught up mostly in terms of XP. So things are starting to calm down from Extremum's perspective, basically. Whereas Tempo, you can kind of feel that they still want to make some sort of plays happen after that attempt on the bot lane.
Yeah, but you can also see now, like, now the Slark is, he's a little bit sad from what just happened, you know. He goes bottom and he wants to make this rotation onto Ursa, but what ends up happening is he's just lingering in the jungle, not hitting creeps for about 2-3 minutes, or 2 maybe, and then he does go down, so now he wants to find a new home, you know, and he's not sure, he doesn't really want to sit in this top lane, so he's just gonna jungle for now. And I think he could potentially try to be ready to join this bottom lane once again, but for now I think you just jungle if you're Slark.
Interesting choice as well. He's going for the Sanj next. I wondered if he'd just like try and rush the Silver Edge in this game to try and completely nullify the Ursa.
I really think that seems like an overkill. I don't think you need to get a Silver Edge this game. If kind of, I mean, you could get it way later on, right? Like if you just want to upgrade your Echo Saber or whatever. But I think the items in this game that I at least am looking for are like it's Diffusal and BKB, I think, and as well as maybe Abyssal.
He's prioritizing the Heaven's Halberd. Like, I agree with you, right? Like, the reason I thought Sanj, like, yeah, it tanks you up a bit, but going the Heaven's Halberd, it's similar to what I was saying with the Silver Edge, right? Like, and you said that's overkill. It's targeting the Ursa. And the Ursa may eventually be a big concern, but right now, it's the magical damage that Extremum have that's going to keep killing you.
Yeah, I mean, he might have some sort of thought process that that with the combination of, you know, like, let's say that this Underlord gets a pipe, the Treant, he gets some... He has this armor, and so you're just gonna be able to fight with an overwhelming amount of HP and thus stacking up enough essence shifts to kind of to still be fine.
Fight up top. Sans came out though, so Mitch can't actually root him yet. Now the follow-up should be good enough to bring down the Ember Spirit. He's dead. A lot of heroes here from the side of Tempo, and looks like Extreme just won out. Velio goes for the roll away, is successful. So that big rotation only cost them one. They were thinking about reinitiating with Nephra, but Tempo didn't come far enough forward. However, DNC is getting low to the Magnetize. The attrition warfare allows them to pick a target in return. They're moving in by Noob, trying to go on a G. Sans comes down on him straight away. Nephra search for, but now Krylak goes in, finds the kill on a G. Real on the 2 in the meantime. Yule's going to come on Nephra, so he cannot continue the pursuit on the Noob. And Velio is going to be ran down. One more tick will bring him out. The Leech Seed is enough to get him below 0.
Yeah, and a lot of this I feel kind of happened just because they decided to go push here before the Ember has his Yules. He's like, he just lost his courier too, but he was some 200-300 goals away, and if he has Yules, you know, he's not gonna die there. But now the Ember, once you lose your Ember, you don't really want to stick around and fight anymore.
No, and speaking of Yules, that's now Yules being picked up on Mitch is flying out now. Just gives them a lot of ways of just dispelling all this lockdown or this initiation that Extreme have, right? Like, it is an insanely high value Yules game.
Yeah, I mean, both for him and for the Void Spirit. That's why we see both of them go for it. Now he's queuing up this pipe, so I feel like he's kind of recognizing what his role is in this game, what he has to do. We are gonna see Ursa has that completed Battle Fury waiting for him in the base. He did lose his courier as well. Slark picked up both the Ursa and the Ember Spirit couriers there.
Just fishing for the real gold. Get all his teammates to go and bring him up that 4k net worth advantage point. They might try and convert this into a tower soon. Like, you already see the pressure in the mid lane. They force out the enrage from Nephra, which means he might just have to abandon this and let the tier 1 fall. That's
yeah, you don't really know who's lurking in the shadows, in the jungle, etc.
Well, this isn't your jungle anymore. This is on loan to Tempo. And you can already see that EXTREMUM respect that, and they've actually committed a lot of heroes top. Which, yeah, maybe find a kill into LeBron, potentially, but the time it will take you means you're definitely losing your tier 1 tower. They're actually TPing in, the pings come out from Krylak. They'll look to escape. Velio not able to find anyone. You can understand why they're so prioritized in protecting this tier 1, right? But there is this feeling of inevitability. Like, you keep rotating these heroes, you're not finding anything, and the tower's still slowly dying.
Yeah, right now they just wanna... They want time. They have now the Yules on Ember, and they're gonna go in on the
gonna bring Krylak down, kill him off before he can escape. He did use the Shadow Dance. They do lose the Ursa as well, though. Yules is gonna come out on a Mitch to try and bring him down in the wall. No really easy escape for him. Defensive Yules gonna come out. Overgrowth is gonna be there trying to help out. He throws out the roots as Noob cuts the back line. Soulbind means he cannot reinforce Mitch. He has to stay away from him. But he might look to re-engage. Goes in, Remnant comes out. A lot of damage onto Melior, but no reinforcements means he needs to retreat away from this. Or does he? Rubik's waiting. He's slowed down so much, though, by the Earth Spirit at the moment. Lift comes out on the Melior. Movement forward. Melior brought low. The root's going to be there. They'll be able to bring him down. And DNZ able to move away. That Searing Chain sets up the double kill by the looks of it as Melior trying to escape from this. There's going to be a Dissimulate to kill him off.
Yeah, and that's where, I mean, that fight was taken while there's this Arcane Rune on Void Spirit, and man, he got so much value out of that. He used so many spells there, and it dealt a ton of damage. You can see here on the fight recap, you know, 5k damage dealt by Void Spirit, and, you know, like some 3k damage by the rest of his team, so...
Yeah, when you're in a fight and you see double, like 4 times Astral Step, that kind of puts it all in perspective for you. This is a 2-charge
6
spell.
Dissimulates, 5 Resonant Pulses, and 5 Ether Remnants. So
it's like, nice, let me just mash all my buttons with my face, and we'll see what comes out the other end. And what might come out the other end is a Death Melior, as he's trapped by the Searing Chains. DNZ on the mark with these steals, making sure he keeps that perma lockdown all the time. Melior not able to move away, though. Gets killed off by the final hit from Noob. Dead for another 30 seconds, and that brings this Void Spirit scarily close to completing that axe.
Yeah, that's some back-to-back Death Dire by the Ember, and right now you're gonna feel so scared if you see this axe on the Void Spirit when you're very far away from getting any sort of, you know, like BKB, right? And now he's not feeling super confident just with his Yules, just because it sets him up for getting, you know, this Ether Remnant used on him. The one thing is, like, yeah, we see the Slark, he is going for this Halberd, and yeah, it's kind of cool against the Ursa, but that's not really what's killing him. So I feel like that's kind of an upside for Extremum, at least, in a sense.
Yeah, an exposed weakness. But I think you're right on the Yules front. It's like, I think it's a big part of why Void Spirit is such a popular hero, right? I can't think of many heroes that benefit so much from someone defensively Yulesing themselves. Because of how cheap Remnant is, right? Low cooldown, solid
Yeah,
stun.
no, for sure, for sure. And Yules is quite a prevalent item right now, as it removes a lot of silences and chains and whatnot. So
Plus, you can feel that the Battle of the Yules, not only is Noob coming out ahead in terms of kills, 904 now, it shows in the net worth as he's the one to breach that 10k mark first with his axe now complete. You can guarantee they're going to look to hunt. They do need another smoke if they want to continue. And I don't think they brought any others. This is an awkward moment where you just walk back to wherever you were, maybe push. Don't know if you can Roche. That's
have a
probably
very slow Roche here.
I think that they're waiting for like the Ursa moment, right? Because we're reaching that point in the game where an Ursa considers a soloing Roche.
The Ursa can definitely kill the Roche. Another way for the Roche to die is also if the Slark manages to get enough stacks, then he can kill Roche after. But
Moving in, Noom, Remnant, and that's the kill on the Melior. Makes it look so clean, so simple. In the meantime, Rubik does die as Velio dives into a big mess that he will not escape from. Overgrowth comes out to ensure that, finds a bonus kill maybe on an on-guarding. Swell trying to move away. Remnant off the mark from Noob, but he still has that DD running, so he'll have to retreat. Luckily for the side of Extremum, is Astral Step still on cooldown.
yeah, Noob is off to a very good start in this game. He's already at 10-0 with both the Axe and the Yules at the 20-minute mark, and the Ember he's struggling real hard at this point. I mean, we saw he got the solo kill on the mid lane, and now also just like the Ember being he's some 5 levels behind,
and just as much K gold. Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. He's close to getting double the net worth here.
I mean, my concern is if this is Noob as a noob, I don't think I want to see him when he's a pro. All right, 10-0-4. But we did kind of warn this, right? Like we talked about this at the start of the lane. This is a very volatile type of lane. It can go either way, and usually one kill is all it takes, and it completely escalates from there.
Yeah, and it was not just the fact that it was about this lane too, right? It's also the fact that the Darkseer got shut down so hard early on by the Slark and the Treant. And I think neither of these lanes, I think neither of these lanes they need to go the way they did. I'm not saying that by any means that you have to win these lanes very handedly for the Ember or the Darkseer, but I think you can just do fine. They got really worked in both those lanes.
Yeah, you're just saying don't lose, lol. Don't need you to win. Just need you to not completely get ruffle stomped, which it is. I think that's a fair assessment of what happened top.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, what happened top was a brutal beat down. It was not pretty.
Yeah, no, they had the Nurse Non Grata back to health, checking for a pulse. But look at him now. He's richer than his Ember Spirit. Which isn't a positive in this situation because the Ember Spirit has suffered a lot and will suffer more. Maybe, nope, he gets the dodge out just in time. If that connects, though, 100% of death because Mitch was on his way in as well. Who will come into the no-go area? That's what we refer to this area as. Tempo have full control of it. Dash in. Doesn't even want the core. He just wants the big boy himself. Non-Grata's going to die.
Yeah, and I feel like this is I feel like their heroes are in the wrong places right now. This is one of those scenarios where you feel that you're far behind, and so sometimes when that happens, you don't think as clearly. But I feel like this is a scenario where you kind of just want your Grimstroke in this, the lane where all the tempo heroes are gonna be running. You just want him to sit there and throw Stroke of Fate and try to slow down the push. Darkseer can join up with the Earth Spirit and or Ember, and he can also just shell the other waves where tempo are not. Yeah, and then they're able to also make plays that way.
Well, I was gonna say you can definitely feel that sense of loss from Extreme, right? Like, where do we go? What do we do? And like Tempo already read it as the train did circle the bot area. Like, they understand that if we shut them out here, like there's nowhere left Extreme to go.
Yeah, and the one thing the one thing I'm not like fully kind of liking like in this game is the fact that they did go for this Ursa, and like they have the last pick, right? But they're picking a hero that scales. It does not scale as well as Slark. and you're also going for this greedy build where the Ursa, like almost no matter his net worth in this game, his participation is gonna be very limited. He can only fight during his BKB, and during the BKB you could use Overgrowth. And if you do that, you might force the Enrage, and then he'll just, once they're gone, he can't do anything. There's a root. There's gonna be this the Void Spirit with all his kind of disables. He looks like he could also be going. Okay, he's going maybe Kaya Sanj. I thought he could have gone for a Halberd himself, if anything. But
Disassemble
yeah, the
afterwards.
Ursa is he's very limited in terms of his fighting capabilities in a game like this.
Yeah. Now they just go straight onto the Ember Spirit. This Ursa, he's got his BKB. They move in the Soulbind's going to come on the outstack. With that Battlefield cleaving through, it is decent damage. Treen's going to buy back straight away after going down. Void Spirit is dead as well. That's the big target found. And Mitch will just get the rest out. So they force the buyback. They get 2 big kills. They did have to buy back on the Ember Spirit himself, though. And Velior is making it worthwhile. He finds DNZ. Overgrove's going to come out, but the roll through connects onto Rubik. We'll be able to bring him down. He's dead. Slark is going to arrive here. There's not really any fight left to have. Mitch can try and deter this push with Firestorm in 5 seconds, but you have to respect the Ursa, and you know where he's going. When he sees an opportunity like this, straight into the pit.
Yeah, and finally they managed to kind of land some of their spells properly there. You know, you see there's some vacuum into Earth Spirit spells, some stuns, and the Ursa just gets to cleave on these 3 heroes.
Nice vacuum. Just buying time. They just want to keep him away from the pit. Like, this is all
with
you
the Void
need for...
Spirit, no without buyback here, so it is gonna be a free Roche. Ursa will be very happy with that.
Yeah, I think they became more confident when that 3-man vacuum came in and there was no buyback. They're like, okay, they can't contest us. They're just wasting our time. Just go. And some breathing room, finally, for EXTREMUM. Proving they can get on the map and actually make some plays. And, you know, Ember Spirit still going to trail behind his Darks here, but finally able to see some more item progression as he desperately needs to get towards this BKB.
Yeah, like now the Slark, he still feels like, you know, he still has to keep farming, right? He bought this. I mean, to me, it's just strange because this Halberd it's a tank item, right? And he's following this tank item with another kind of defensive item. And generally, you just don't really want to be building. I mean, Echo Saber is both offensive and defensive at the same time, but what he's doing here, he's pretty much just building like, you know, like he's just
Please
building
let me
HP.
live type items, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not really.
Like,
I'm not
where's your
overwhelmed
damage
with joy
coming
when I
from,
see
right?
this. Yeah, it's also like, where's your catch coming from? Yeah, you have the pounce and you have some setup in terms of the Void Spirit, but you know, something like Bash or I would have enjoyed seeing a Diffusal in this game. I think there are many good targets to burn their mana here.
I think it's also that, like, when you compare the past and the batons, like, it's a fair point to bring this up, right? Like, when does Krylap become your source of damage? Because Void Spirit is gonna peter off, right? There's a point at which you reach your cap, whereas when you look at EXTREMUM, you've got this natural conversion that's going to occur because Nephrit, you know, it's all right clicks. Yes, he's got a BKB, but he's looking to dish out the damage now with a completed Basher.
Yeah, this is the point where like now the Slark, like, you have your Halberd, but you don't really want to man fight this Ursa anyway. Like there's an Aegis, there's also this Bash. You might just get silenced. He's gonna have his BKB very soon though, and I mean, he shouldn't be dying unless the fight is very losing for him and his team, and it gets dragged out, and he somehow, you know, stays in the fight. The Slark, there's no real reason for the Slark to die anymore.
No. And those kind of long, protracted fights is how you expect Tempo to want to play it, right? Like, when you think of the damage over time, the heroes in the Void Spirit and the Slark, that's the way they play these fights. But the credit you have to give to EXTREMUM is naturally their draft has a lot of catch, so it's very hard for you to play that in-and-out style of Dota.
Yeah, they have, you know, there's a lot of catch with the, I mean, just the Ursa with Iron Shell and Surge, or the Ember, the Earth Spirit. There are so many ways.
Is it me, or does a surged Ursa look like he awkwardly wants to give you a hug? It's like, it just looks like this very kind of
Everyone's
dude.
running from me.
Yeah, he's like, hug me. He's like, no,
just wait.
get away from me.
And you can see kind of the efficiency here of this drafting here. Like, yes, they managed to eventually bring the tower down, but it takes them so long to hit this tower versus Glyph versus Firestorm, She and Armor. They're in the mid lane. They need to use so many heroes.
It's fine. They're finding efficiency and kills elsewhere. However, that buys enough time for Tempo to push in on top. I can't help but feel like it's almost like the bad experiences EXTREMUM had in this top area of the map means they continue to let Tempo exist there. More
Yeah,
than
at
they
the
maybe
same
should.
time, right now, it's like, do you really want to like bring all your resources to this top lane? You know, you don't really own this area. You don't have vision here. You don't want to give
Oh,
them too much damage, but
you do have an Aegis. And let's see if they can start to use that. As Melio's going to force a fight in the top lane. LeBron trying to move away. Has got the overgrowth. Might just have pop it just to escape. Remnant to buy some time. The silence is out though, and they're on top of him. He missed his opportunity to ult.
and now at least you're getting closer to this BKB on the Ember. Slark has finished his BKB. He's going for the Skadi next. So I mean, he
I
just
feel
wants
like
to be
we've...
one tanky boy.
Yeah, do we want to continue the discussion we've had? So I feel like he wants to have more health.
I mean, if he goes hard next item, you know, then I'm just,
I'm
I'm out.
I'm out here. Satanic as well. Like I think if we see either of those two items, we're like, all right, peace. He clearly doesn't want to be the deep surf. That's all on Noob, who, you know, it's building a Shiva's guy. It's a little bit of extra nuke damage, but you really are reaching a point where your damage is going to start to peak and then fall off if this continues.
Yeah, and I think to some extent that, of course, it's also because of the Roche. The Ursa having the Roche, it kind of makes it so that Tempo don't want to find too many fights. They don't really want to fight, you know, into the Aegis Ursa. But at the same time, I also think it has something to do with the.
Oh no. Noob. Oh no, is he going to get interrupted? Yes, the Inkswell never. He spots him out. Noob does not have an escape. He's got the Simulate, but no Astral Step for 8 seconds. I don't know if he can buy enough time. They back through, roll on the point, and Noob. Well, I mean, he's kind of looking like that right now. Does get caught out, gets tricked by EXTREMUM, and I feel like this is exactly the thing that we saw happen in the last game with that type of hero as well, where the Void Spirit just started getting picked off, and all of a sudden, the other team takes full control.
Yeah, I mean, this Void Spirit off to such a good start in 2 different games, and then kind of in both games, like you said, he's just having these kind of awkward deaths. And now the Ursa is gonna have, there should be an Abyssal pretty much. He sends it to the secret shop. There should be Abyssal flying out, and the Slark is still, you know, like, when is he gonna have an impact in this game? That's kind of what we're waiting for.
It's like, yo, Slark,
I
you
mean,
ready yet? Nah, bro. I need like 5 more minutes. Can you cover for me?
You know, he's part of, like, yeah, he's part of 12 kills and everything, but quite a few of these were in the laning stage, and after that, he just has been, you know, a very, very quiet factor in this game. He hasn't really participated all that much.
No, this isn't your, I've got 21 perma agi. This is my ribbon of proof that I've done things. And because it's not something like the Spectre we saw in last game, you don't even get that participation medal aspect here, right? Like you have to either want to have these fights or they're going to happen without you, because EXTREMUM are continuing to push this tempo.
Yeah, no, I'm just really quite unhappy with the item choice here of the Slark.
Yep. Don't worry. He can press Shadow Dance before he dies. They can't touch him. However, you were meant to be killing the Ember Spirit there. That was the kill.
Yeah, oh, he's a very, very, very scared passive player. Even with the 21 charges and the Fairy Fire, like, with the BKB, I feel like it's just way too passive gameplay from the carry here of Tempo.
Yeah, this fish is, I'm gonna say it, is proven to be quite the pussy right now. And that was maybe your golden opportunity, right? Because the Aegis was coming to an end. If you remove Ember from the equation, you have the Void Spirit mobility to find kills. They don't have the Ember anymore. And all of a sudden, you're going to have to smoke into the 5-on-5. Ember did just show top, so they can try and move first on an effort. Run him down to half HP already. Forced up, try and get him out of the mix. BKB, Embrace, turns the fight right now. The vacuum dragging them in, the walls down as well. Nefra able to move away. But the BKB Slark is allowing him to chase forward and on Grada, pounce in. And he is leashed, so he's just going to run around in circles to Surge. In the meantime, they are going to bring down the Earth Spirit, chase forward onto the Grimstroke. G, he knows he's going to be the sacrifice. There's no easy escape. But I think you're kind of happy if you're EXTREMUM. Considering how that fight began, you get your Ursa out in one piece and only lose your supports.
Yeah, sure, you only lost the supports. At the same time, now you have 20 stacks on the Slark. I mean, not the permanent, but he has 20 stacks for now, so they're going to be able to take this mid tower kind of for free here. There might be a glyph to slow them down a little bit, but they should be able to get this mid tower. And they might even start threatening the high ground here. The Noob is going to cut at least the top wave, together with the Rubik maybe.
Yeah,
and they're going to have pressure.
Glyph, like you said.
Yeah.
So I think this is the moment where you're like, yeah, guys, we have to glyph. But when we're up, we can fight again, because in 10 seconds, both supports are going to be back on Extremum.
Yeah, they're just waiting for this.
Melio, oh no! He ran into the stun. They're going to jump straight on top of it and try and take advantage of that. The erase comes down as Ursa tries to force them away. Ember is living for the moment, forced up to get him out, but Krylat goes further in. He doesn't have a Shadow Dance, has that for VKB, but now he's fighting up against an Ursa. Never an advised strategy. The cancel comes out from Mitch. He doesn't actually use the ultimate. They're not able to get out like that. DNZ is going to be left behind. They force the buyback out of the tree, and he has TP to the outpost. But Noob is getting split from his team here. He has got another Astral Step. They're pinging onto him, and Velio waited too long. He didn't get the silence out in time. He does find the roll, though. On point. However, the Remnant did stop him from batting him back, so it looks like they'll get Noob away. But this is bad for Tempo, considering they just bought back on the Trin, and Roche is up, and they're way too split to stop this.
Yeah, that's like some very unfortunate timing. Potentially, if they hadn't committed so hard onto that base, they could have maybe tried to go for the Roche themselves. However, their Roche taking is very, very slow. And I mean, once again, I feel like this the very limited impact here from the Slark is kind of hurting them.
So you don't think the 40 damage from his Greater Fairy Fire is enough?
I think that the way kind of he's playing the game is he's not setting his team up for success. No. I think when you're building like this tanky, at least you want to make sure that you are tanking a bit, you know? You want to be low so that you can bait the enemies into some awkward engagements.
This is the I hope my KDA doesn't look bad at the end of the game strategy.
This is exactly that strategy, yes.
Have you ever found yourself committing to that strategy in a professional game? Oh, well, hold on a sec. We'll have to wait on that. There's a professional fight going on. Earth Spirit gets brought down. Nephra pops everything just to TP away. We'll be able to make it. Imagine if the Slark had a Basher right now.
Imagine, huh? One of those crazy items, huh?
I mean, it does tank you up, so he wouldn't be abandoning his philosophy. Well, imagine if he had an Axe right now. He would have reached with that pounce.
I feel like the days of the Axe Slark might be... They might be gone, but, you know...
Hey, never say never.
I kind of, at this point, I just want to see some sort of signs of aggression, right? Like, that's kind of where I'm at right now. I just think that they need to show some sort of aggression in order for Extremum to sort of be scared and make strange plays or whatever.
Yeah, and they're not. Just look how confidently Darkseer stands here. Like, he's just baying all the attention so they know that everyone's still here. Meanwhile, Ursa does go in. They throw out the Soulbind pretty willy-nilly on the Krylat, though, so... If you're Tempo, you're feeling kind of confident because you have all your spells and they don't have a Soulbind, which has been hindering the Slark a lot in these fights when they catch him. Same with the Void Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, like, at least he's getting to build up a few stacks here and there in these sort of small skirmishes, right? And that's kind of what you want. You just want to be poking a little bit. Like, even though the Ursa has these Aegis, just you can poke a little bit, right? Like the way that the previous fight started, where they were kind of going onto the Ursa, and where they kind of just bring him really low before the fight starts. At that point, the Ursa just has to run. You know, he has to press his Enrage and his BKB in order to survive, and that kind of means that the fight is done. That means that they don't really like the Ursa has to be out of there. Now that he has the Aegis, so they don't necessarily want to do that, but
they do want to go. They smoked up right now. It feels like Extremum don't have a real clear direction of where they want to head. Is this just on Tempo doing a really good job of like controlling the creep waves and dodging? Because they did draw attention bot from Melior, right? So like you are going to fight 4 into potentially 5. And oops, they tried.
No, I think they're doing a fairly good job at just kind of controlling the waves here. I mean, personally I would like it if the Slark now was more so towards this bottom area so that he can start threatening a little bit and maybe force a rotation back to the base, or at least have someone. I mean, we saw the Underlord, he just ulted out of there. He was scared of getting like killed very quickly by the Ursa or someone else.
Speaking of gets killed very quickly, Melior might be exactly that. They'll jump straight in and kill him off. Dead for 105 seconds, and an opportunity presented to Tempo. And push exactly that as they'll move forward. You can already see they're looking to cut off Extremum's retreat. Krylat leading the way. He's like, I'm a tanky boy. I can absorb all the damage you send my way. Well, let's see if that's true. Nefret trying to move in onto Master. Move away from the Inkswell, though. Does still get stunned up. Disarmed as well. Might look to turn around because Krylat's BKB is running out soon. He needs to be careful. Bissell's going to be there, but now all of a sudden Nefret, not sure. He does get the reinforcement. Shadow Dance comes out. Krylat needs to retreat. Melior's BKB is running, but the Upgrove's going to connect onto. They move forward. Soulbind comes out, connecting the two, and Nefret, he goes for the primary target. Slark's going to be brought down. Melior, that looks like he might die, but no, he gets the cheese off. He heals up just in time. Turnaround coming in under the Void Spirit. Noob able to move away. Nice route out from Mitch. The damage might already be done. You've lost your Slark, and all you're trying to do is fumble around and escape with whoever you can.
Yeah, we can kind of see in these fights, you don't have enough damage right now on the side of Tempo. They're not dealing enough damage to be able to bring down this Ursa. Of course, the Ember had to use the cheese there in that fight, and he also did commit that buyback. So he is kind of trailing in terms of net worth. I mean, we can see he's all the way down below the Darkseer, lowest of all the cores.
That's the difference here, right? It's basically becoming the Ursa show on one side, and then on Tempo, it's like this alliance to bring down the big bad Ursa between the three cores.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when he has the Aegis, it's very difficult for them. You know, it's difficult to kill him just the once. He's gonna lose the Aegis just now, but he's sitting at 5k gold here, 5.5, and he can afford a new item if he wants to.
Have to see where he wants to go. I'm trying to think what you really want at this stage. I don't think you even need a Satanic, right? Because you've got that trusty Paladin sword at all times.
Yeah, no, you can get the Satanic for the status resist, but I don't know. I wouldn't really mind if he went for some sort of damage. I think being able to actually kind of burst some of these heroes, you know, whether it's a Daedalus or something else, you know, damaged item, MKB, etc. I think you could definitely make a case for it. But he's gonna go for the Satanic. He is gonna have, you know, both the SNY and the Satanic, and
he has
if he gets through this.
That's the critical detail. So this has to work straight away. They move in, Abyssal out onto LeBron. They say hello to the friendly Trin. He throws out his Overgrowth. Meteor Hammer follow up. The BKB comes up from Melior. John Tom and Vacuum just wrap three together. Wall's going to go down. And the use of the Soulbind ensures that Noob cannot escape from this. Yours to buy some time. Mitch in the meantime trying to tank through it all and trying to Uber them out. But no, they're going to be able to bring down the Void Spirit. They do not find the kill on the Underlord, but they got the big change. There's just pennies left in that pocket. They will be able to find their way out with Krylat for the moment. And Nefret, he says, damn it, no first hit bash. You may escape for now. Your towers, however, do not have movement speed, so they're going to be taken down.
I think they managed to chain their stuns there quite well. I think it was like the, I think he, I'm not sure if he got clipped by the vacuum as well, but there was some Earth Spirit roll into.
They had the silence off the vacuum, then they had
yeah, and also the Inkswell, I think it was.
Yes,
yeah,
the Inkswell and the Soulbind.
So. Yeah, and there's no BKB just yet on the Void Spirit, so.
Slug needs to be a little bit careful here. BKB, but okay, we'll just run away. Abyssal jump in. Nefret trying to right click onto me. He did get hit by the disarm, but that stats resistance coming into play. They'll vacuum him back, slows on him as well, and Slark needs an out right now. No pounce for 4 seconds. The silence is on him, and he's going to get bashed up before he can even get rid of the Phantom's Embrace. They kill him. Slark gone for 90 seconds. He does have buyback, and they are not going to stop until they force it.
Yeah, we see here, despite him having all of these defensive items, he still does go down when his team is dead.
It's almost like when you see the stat breakdown is 100% defense and or like 98% defense and 2% attack. You're willing to run that down for the extra 20 seconds. It really shows how much the Void Spirit is being relied upon still in this draft for Tempo at this stage in the game.
Yeah, honestly, this game, I mean, it feels quite similar to the last game, like, you know, with the impact of the Void Spirit, and it just feels like it's, at this point, it's not enough, you know.
Yeah, I don't think that that's on Noob either. I feel that's the nature of this
hero.
No,
I agree. I also don't think it's necessarily on Noob. I mean, to some extent, like, getting caught out, like, it does seem that this Void Spirit who collects all of these early kills and then kind of dies once or twice, he gives up a lot, right? And there are a lot of similar heroes like this, you know, like SF, Queen of Pain. There are a lot of heroes that have a similar nature where they get a lot of kills or a lot of gold early on, and then they kind of feed it back.
Yeah.
So I think he had some kind of less than ideal deaths, let's call it. I don't know if there are, you know, ideal deaths, but there are definitely good deaths and bad deaths.
Last game? He's
no,
ideal.
Yeah, for sure. No, I mean it's way better in certain scenarios. You know,
but as opposed
I mean,
to
dying,
it's not very.
Exactly. No. Not as the snowballing position too.
That whole statement just reminded me of the Doom POS 5s I randomly get on my games. They munch all his creeps, they get all his net worth, and then they inevitably feed. Let's see if this is a feed move from Tempo. If they can find G first, that's perfect. The pings did come out. They move forward. They change tugs on the Earth Spirit, which means they're going to expose their back line. Moving across now, looking for the kill onto the Rubik. The Overgrowth's going to come out. She's going to be brought low, but he gets healed up almost fully. And Krylat will move across, but that's his BKB to get the kill. The Soulbind did come out in the meantime, trapping two together. Melior was going to look to run him down. Rubik, even with the use of the Witless Shaco, not able to keep himself alive. There is going to be Root coming out on a free, but the stun goes straight away into Treant's face. The buyback out from Rubik. He's trying to run this fight. However, Mitch, he needs it out and he needs it fast. Yours to buy some time. They decide it's not even worth finishing him. They move forward looking for a different one. The primary, the one that is costing Tempo so much. Noob, is he able to get away? No, the Root is not there. The chains were just a second off.
And he rolled through as the voice
as
break disappeared from there.
Yep.
Yeah, but like what we're seeing in these fights now is that the Slark, he's committing his BKB to killing some of these supports, but he just kind of ends up getting kited, right? He doesn't have any lockdown. I mean, he has Skadi and Echo Saber, and you slow them a little bit, and there's the pounce, but in general, it's just, you know, there's a 4-staff on the Darks here. He has Surge to Surge his allies, 4-staff on the Earth Spirit, also has a Yules, there's Yules on the Ember, first obviously with the Enrage, and it's just very difficult for the Slark at this point to keep finding heroes to keep attacking, right? He has to commit both Dark Pact and BKB in order to feel safe when he's hitting. And that is also because of this Phantom's Embrace, right? So it makes him feel unsafe to keep fighting if he doesn't have those.
I was going to say, it's also the way that Extreme are playing these fights so well. Like, they understand that they can't get stuck in a protracted siege, right? Like, they go in, it's a dead commitment. If they lose the fight, it's going to be disastrous. But they understand, like, losing the fight is harder for them because that aforementioned Slark, that if these fights were to be in and out, that's when he gets his damage through all the essence shift. But the way that they're committing so fervently with this Ursa makes it nigh on impossible for you to get that sort of scenario as Tempo.
Yeah, I mean, the Ursa is just not killing heroes fast enough. Sorry, the Slark is just not killing heroes fast enough.
I think the Ursa's got enough for this.
No, the Ursa is definitely killing fast. The one thing, like, I could potentially see something like a Nullifier on the Slark here to kind of, like,
stop
all these defensive items. Stop the surge, etc. I think that's something you could consider.
Maybe on your Void Spirit. I mean, he's chosen to dedicate his money to this Lincoln's. My only concern is they have ample stuns, and they have different ways of locking you in. It's almost like this might have been a good BKB game.
Yeah, I think he's concerned about the Abyssal and the Soulbind potentially. Yes, I mean the Soulbind, of course, you can. Yeah, I mean if you're BKB, you can kind of deal with it in different ways, right? But I think you're concerned a little bit with this Abyssal here. I don't necessarily dislike him going some sort of defensive item, whether it's the BKB or Lincoln's. You know, it's debatable.
Yeah, I think it's one of those games where like neither choice is. I'm not gonna say optimal, but like it doesn't cover everything, right? It's like this option gives me 60% protection to what's killing me. This option gives me 40%.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't feel great either way. And now once again we have this. There's the Aegis on the Ursa. He's keeping his SNY in his backpack just to be able to run around quick with the treads, etc. And Ember Spirit now he's starting to catch up. I mean, he's surpassed the Void Spirit now. He's trying to catch up, I think, to the Slark here.
I mean, he's a bloody spooky hero right now as well. He's got the Spell Prism. He's got the Refresher Shard. He's got a Hex. This guy is kind of a pivotal kill. Like, we're talking about how important the Void Spirit's been, just as much as the Ember. Neferet says his BKB isn't important. I'm just going to test that the button works as he tries to jump in and find a kill on the Mitch unsuccessfully.
Yeah, the one thing now, like, that you can say that Tempo has going for them is the fact that they have this Treant and Underlord. And, I mean, this combination is just... If you can't really break the base quickly, which obviously Extremum's heroes, they don't have tower damage, right?
Yeah, it's literally just Ursa.
It's very difficult for them to deal tower damage. They need to go into the base and kill the heroes in order to be allowed to deal damage. Otherwise, they're just gonna use this Nature's Grasp. There's gonna be the Firestorm from the Underlord, and then they're gonna heal up the tower.
So what you're saying is they just need to buy enough time that Extreme gets bored of this game, or Krylat gets some right-click items.
Yeah, or if he gets, you know, enough essence shifts. However, with the way this game is going, it appears that's gonna be sometime tomorrow.
Hey, he's began it. He's got a basher now. He's getting some right clickers. However,
he's got a basher.
Got a basher, lad. I'm going to try and force a few spells out of him right now. BKB said, nope. I don't know any of you people. My papa told me strangers are danger, so I'm getting out. Problem is, the rest of his team will reconvene with him in the base where they cannot leave because Nefra is a very angry bear looking for some very sad people to maul to death.
Yeah, and they kind of want to try to force this fight right now because they have the Aegis, the Slarks, BKB, and Shadow Dance are both on cooldown. It's just the fact that it's so difficult for them to force these fights.
The elusiveness of the Void Spirit doesn't make an easy kill. However, they go for Mitch. They jump straight on him with the BKB activated. There's no way that root's going to protect him. They bring the Underlord down. The backline's already been cut into. They're going to force a lot of spells out. They might be able to find the Earth Spirit. They're committing a lot just to bring him down. Can they deal with the rest? Darkseer has been lifted for a long time. BKB, Mellow dodges out the pounce, and all of a sudden they need to move away. The Soulbind's out, the Hex as well. The follow-up is looking good as the Ursa moves in, looking to bring him down. The Refresh route to try and root them again. And they will be able to bring him low, and the Treant is going to dive alongside the Slark. Gone for 100 seconds. All of a sudden, this base, EXTREMUM looking to plant a flag, and the buyback comes out, the double buyback from Tempo. And all of a sudden, EXTREMUM go, that's fine. We have ways of escaping. See you later. They might leave a few heroes behind. Earthspirit the buyback. Nice vacuum coming out from Nomgrada, though. Inkswell as well to run him away, but the Yules is there with the Remnant follow-up. The reinitiation from Nefra. Straight away to Noob. Forced up to get him on the high ground away, but he goes straight back in with a stun onto Ursa. And Ursa is just being ignored. They're bringing down everyone around him before they try and bring down the Bear establishment. And Rage comes out. So the disarm doesn't last long. He reinitiates the Krylat, forcing the Shadow Dance out in the meantime now. To Simulate, stun on the free, sets up well for Krylat to try and will away at them. Getting the SSG stack, but Nefra fighting back, but he won't be able to do enough. The Bear's down. Dead for 100 seconds, and it looks like Tempo have finally found their stride as they're able to hold against EXTREMUM.
And it's not done there. Yeah, it's gonna be now Slark with 15 permanent agility, 35 extra stacks, and this is where you need to make something happen right now. Like, you need to go towards the base for some buybacks. They didn't lose any Rex, but they did use a lot of buybacks. They used the buyback on the Slark. There was the one on the Underlord and the Treant. So now is where you really want to make something happen. However, if now you buyback on EXTREMUM here and you lose this fight, your base will be gone very quickly now because of how many stacks the Slark has.
Yeah, he's in machine gun mode, 90 agility, and as you said, he's got that perm of 15. I think a third of that agility just came from that last fight. I want to say. He's finally found his fighting mode.
A lot of it definitely did. There's going to be buyback on the Ember, but I don't think this should be enough. I feel like you just keep going here. This is a 5v2. You want to force out more buybacks. You want to force either the Ursa and or the Darkseer. The Grimstroke is also not really willing to buy back, and it looks like they're going to just forfeit two sides here.
Yeah, I mean, like, Tempo right now, they're like, well, we just show you ours, so why don't you show us yours? And EXTREMUM are like, nah, I'm a little bit shy. You can have the 2 lanes because we're in a situation now where the buildings don't matter as much. While the game is called Defense the Ancients, now it's Tempo defend your buybacks because you have 3 chinks in your armor.
Yeah, and so, yeah, exactly. The game now is... Now it's up to EXTREMUM to find these fights. They need to just keep... They need to just go to the base and find a fight and try to kill these heroes that don't have buyback. You know, should the Slark die? Should the... Well, the Treant maybe not as important, but should the Slark or the Underlord die? It could potentially just be game, right? Just because of the fact that they don't have buybacks.
Yeah, and that's why the next Roche is going to be crucial. If there's a quick spawn time, you're in trouble. Like, if you're Tempo, you're probably praying for the 3-min Valve time. I don't think that'll apply to Roche,
no.
but if you could get the maximum... Oh, dear. I mean, it's funny he brings up the 3 mins, though, right? Like, this is literally a situation where, like, if you get the max spawn time on Roche, Tempo get to a stage where they can comfortably hold high ground until buybacks are back.
Yeah, I mean, quick, exactly. Should Tempo be able to just withstand this next? It's only 5 minutes left, right, for the buybacks of the Underlord and the Slark. I think the Slark might be 6. Yeah, so it's only 5 minutes, and they have this. You know, they have the Firestorm, they have the Treant armor now. The Treant, he's getting a lot of levels here, so he's got the 12% cooldown, so he can heal up. Like, you see this, all the tier 3s are pretty much full health. The middle one has taken a few hundred damage, but it's pretty much nothing, and you have some easy ways of dealing with these creeps. So it's not a very easy task now for EXTREMUM to take these engagements.
No, I think you're right on that. The building doctor's definitely been making his rounds, and if you're EXTREMUM, you wish you had him right now, because you look at their base and Well, they definitely don't have a doctor in the house. They are trailing heavily on the building front. But this is their gamble, like we said. This is them going, okay, you know what? We don't really need a base. We just need those kills, which in most of your pub games will lead to a loss, rather. But in this game, it's the gambit that could easily break Tempo's resilient high ground defense.
Yeah, yeah, so they just made the choice kind of just like, okay, are we going to commit to these buybacks and play that game, or do we actually just want to play the game where now it's still sort of in Extremum's hands, this game, It's up to them to find the victory right now.
Well, they can begin that now as the pause has ended. Everyone's back in the game. We aren't going to have any awkward 4 versus 5s. If you could choose one member of each team to remove right now, and you feel confident that you could still win, who would it be? Like you have to play on the 4-man team.
Oh, I have to play on the 4-man team. I mean, I get to play whatever hero I want. Is that what you're saying?
No. I'm not saying we're subbing you in. Like, one player's DCs, but you on their team, right? So, like, let's say in this situation, you either cry out.
Okay.
Like, we'll keep it simple. You either cry out on Efrit, because we know you only know how to hit creeps. So, we'll oblige that.
Yeah, okay. So, and then, like, one of the heroes kind of
Yeah. Like, which one are you least worried about? Like, oh, man. Oh, we lost our Grim
I think I
Strike.
saw... I think I just saw the Slark destroy one of his own items. I'm not sure.
Is he really trying that? Wow. Do you feel more akin to him now, or?
No, I was just curious. I thought I saw it for a second. I was just surprised.
There's no way, surely.
What hero? I mean, it might have been a cheap item, like a wand or something, but
no, that was just
fake,
the Daedalus you want him to build. It's just gone.
Right. So I mean, you can't remove the Rubik. Like, he has Axe, he has close to 25. The Void Spirit, no way.
Is it maybe
Underlord, no. I mean, that's the only one. At the same time, this Treant's job in this game right now is
so crucial.
It's very important in the team fights that he gets to cast, the Overgrowth and to some extent the Meteor Hammer.
But it's very simple, right? Because like now we can argue if he's DC'd, you could control the wrong. Would that be the easier one to control?
I think you'd probably still take the Treant out of all of these heroes, because the Grimstroke is about to get to his Hex, and so he's going to be having quite a bit of impact too with that.
I think Extreme is the harder one, right? Because like these heroes, there's a lot more potential you can get out if you're fully like paying attention. Like, that's not to say Treant can't have a big impact, but like you kind of summed it up. If you can you click him in place, good Overgrowth, and then Meteor Hammer follow up. Like imagine.
Yeah, and otherwise you're basically just AFK in the base, just using armor. So.
But then Extreme, I was like, I want to say like the Earth Spirit, but then you got the issue like, is someone going to micro him? He does have a lot of impact. The Grimstroke feels a bit more important with that Soulbind, and as you said, almost the Sheepstick complete.
Get that double damage. Let's go.
Angry Bear is increasingly angry.
Would you say Angry Bear is angry?
Angry Bear is smash. Let's see what he's going to smash.
Oh, they might find the Underlord up here.
No,
they're
move away.
Just not in time.
It felt like they were taking their time, right? Because like that move, usually early in the game, we would have seen Nefrit just charge up there. But you can see how fragile the balance is at this stage considering how slowly they approach that top area.
Yeah, they have gotten a little bit spooked. And is Roche, it's about to respawn, right?
Yeah, 7 seconds.
Yeah. Right.
Means if you are Tempo, you really don't want to let this one go for free, but you don't have your buybacks for a few more minutes. I think Extremum are going to take this for free because it's an Ursa, lol.
Yeah, and this is the point where I feel like you start thinking about like who actually gets this Aegis. I mean, they might just give it to Ursa. I think he should definitely at least get the Axe. The Axe will be quite useful here.
Maybe Melior gets the Aegis.
Yep. Yeah, and then the Aegis, yeah, exactly. Giving it to the Ember, I think at this point makes more sense.
His impact is pretty high now with his item choices, but he's still fragile.
Yeah, and the Ursa also kind of needs all of his items, He doesn't really want to replace any of these. Like, you don't want to drop treads, man. You're gonna be this blob running around at 300 move speed. You just can't.
You're like a Medusa who forgot to bring a bow out to play, right? You're like, well, I'm a fortress. No one can approach, but no one's approaching me. Yeah. Whereas, you can already see that he's suffering in slot efficiency, right? Like, this Sanjit Yasha has been sitting in his backpack for so long. He's like, what do I do? I wish I could buy a 7th slot.
Yeah, I mean, you know, maybe he gets lucky and gets that trident or something, and he can put the SNY and.
Yeah, but then you don't have lifesteal.
Yeah, I mean, you have Satanic though, right? So.
Oh yeah, actually, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
To some extent, could be okay.
But no, you need even more life. I mean, in fairness, his lifesteal outside of Satanic has been quite impressive in these fights.
No, for sure, it has. I mean, Paladin Sword is such a great item. Just how much it amplifies. I don't know why. You know, it was like
amplificates.
Anyways,
thank you for that.
Words difficult.
It
Dota.
amplifies your lifesteal so much that it steals your word
me play
and your life
Dota.
away.
Me Ursa, me Smash.
me
words
things.
difficult.
Creep give gold. Gold.
See, that was always the most difficult thing for me when I was playing Dota. You know, it was just the communication part. I'd be like, guys, and they'd be like, what are you saying? And I'm like, and they're like, fuck you, man. And I'm like, no.
He was like, it's like, wow, he really is getting angry, but I have no clue what he wants. Just I don't know. Give him some shared tankos and show him the jungle. He'll be happy.
Yeah, and then I'd go like,
well, look, he's mellowing out.
He's
okay.
now he's happy. Now he's happy.
This bear will not be happy until he's breached this high ground. The problem is that means he might be a sad bear for a long time. They have no way in, and buybacks are back. They've spent so much time waddling around, unable to get in due to Tempo's high ground defense, that now the buyback situation is at risk for the Ember. And instead, they go for the Darkseer. Sorban's going to come up. Krylat has to be KB, trying to hit into the Darkseer, going to bring down to half HP. He has to move away. However, Extreme to go in. Melodial goes deep with the Ink Swell, pops for a second, but he gets silenced up afterwards. Now, Shadow Dance. But look at this. Ursa ignores him, goes for DNC, trying to bring him down, going to get him low in range. Movement forward, able to kill off the Rubik. He's down for 120 seconds. Insta buyback comes down slot, down to half HP. Needs to be careful himself. The roll through, on point from the Earth Spirit. Krylat able to move away with the pounce just in time, though. Noob trying to cut that back line, but he's not that much of a threat anymore. They just turn around him. The Dissimulator come out, will stun up on the Earth. In the meantime, the going to bring down the Earth Spirit for 120 seconds. They'll be able to find the Grimstroke as well and chase forward. Turn around, enrage. They want to fight. Ember doesn't want to give up the Aegis, but they'll be forced to. And in the meantime, your Ursa now has no way to defend himself. The disarm comes out. The damage is too much. He gets brought down. The root is there onto the Ember. Yules into the follow-up route. And there's no escape for him either. That's going to be your dieback. Ember, he still does not have his buyback. And all of a sudden, Tempo, like a filthy goddamn sniper Tinker Draft, stand the high ground for so long that eventually Extremum, they burn themselves out and ensure that now they are the ones who are going to be friend.
Yeah, I mean, finally we're starting to see kind of now like this Slark getting to do Slark things, right? You can see the stacks, he's getting these stacks up, and you can also see like this is the point of the game where I was actually gonna mention like when Ursa does not have overpower up, his attack speed is
adorable.
I mean, it's awful now with the changing the treads into boots of travel, and he just doesn't have enough slots, right? He can't deal enough damage. He's not bursting heroes. He needs something else to be able to kill some of these heroes.
He's like, bro, can you guys build Solar Crest right now? I need them. Darkseer, he needs some assistance to be brought down and killed off. That's going to be his dieback, and this looks like it's likely approaching the end. Noob, Yules to move away. Nefrit forced using Rage and then retreat. But don't worry, Krylat, he's so tanky still, he don't care. He's going to keep chasing. And all of a sudden, they'll just turn around, look for an easy target. Velior down to half HP. The Magnetize is a mild tickler. Noob is going to be brought low, but not enough to kill him off. He'll just move away, TP out to safety, and let his team remain in the base to demolish the rest of Extremum's buildings.
Yeah, and this game, I mean, you can see like why you need at least some sort of tower damage, right? You can't. I mean, even now, right? The tier 3s of Tempo are all full health, right? Yep. It's just you need to be able to siege the base at some point in the game. You have to be able to kill buildings. That's why it's called Defense of the Ancients, right? And I feel like
that's
this is,
why Tempo are winning, right? They've got the defender, the one that heals the Ancient and everything inside.
Yeah, I mean they have multiple defenders, right? They have the Underlord killing the creeps. They have Treant healing the towers and
moving in, and that should be the final fight. So you can already feel it's going this way at this point. GG comes out. Extremum unable to bring that tempo and close the game quick enough, which means we're going to need a third best of one here today.
And another one.
And then after that,